Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Spike Milligan.
Yes, I'm afraid it's me. It was this or a Bob Monkhouse repeat. For your information, I am 3 hours ahead of English summertime. So if you want to set your watches, you'll be able to see me leaving as you're all coming in. I haven't organized anything this evening, so nothing can go wrong. I want you to cast your minds back now. September the 3rd, 1939. The last minutes of peace were ticking away, and my father and I and my brother were watching my mother digging an air raid shelter. Oh, she's a great little woman, said Father, and getting smaller all the time. Just then, a man called Neville Chamberlain, who did Prime Minister impressions, he spoke on the wireless, and he said, "We have not heard from Mr. Hitler. So as from 11 o'clock today, we are at war with Germany." I love that "we" bit. Spontaneous bursts of applause. It was a great day for the Milligan family when 2 military policemen dragged me screaming from the house, took me to Victoria Station and put me on the train for Bexhill, which I was to discover was an above-ground cemetery. They didn't bury the dead there. They put them on street duties. At Bexhill, I got out. It wasn't easy. The train didn't stop there. I jumped off, and I was catapulted to the feet of a sergeant major with a face like Tommy Cooper's upside down. He screwed up his eyes, teeth, and ears and said to me, "You are not Milligan, are you?" Now, I could have given him one of 1,000 names. Like a bloody fool, I said yes. "All right then, well in. Off to the headquarters. Attention, kick, right, left, left." I said, yes. I said, wait a minute, what about the other leg? I didn't want to join a one-legged regiment. And I've got nothing against one-legged soldiers, but then neither have they. I was marched into a battery office which contained a table on which were 3 paper clips. On the wall was a picture of a woman with big tits, captioned, "Join the Navy and see the world." Then, an officer wearing a World War II uniform over a World War I body he spoke, "What your name, my man?" I said, "Spike Milligan, sir." "Silence when you speak to an officer," said the sergeant. "Now, Milligan, now, where are you from?" "London, sir." "Which part?" "All of me." The first thing you find out in the matters in the army is food. At meal times, there was a duty officer present who was informed what the dish of the day was. In this case, it was sausages. The cook called out, "Duty officer present, eat to attention." And the officer came walking past and said, "Any complaints?" The gunner next to me said, "Me." "Sir, what have you got?" The gunner said, "I've got piles." "That's funny," said the officer. "Everybody else has got sausages." Next, I had to go to the MO. "Take your clothes off," he said. "Oh, don't you want to take me out to dinner or something?" "How long has it been like that?" I said, "That's as long as it's ever been." During the war, I formed a small dance band and I played the trumpet. At one dance, a soldier came up to me and ripped open his battle dress jacket, pointed to a wound and said, "Dunkirk!" So I lowered my trousers and showed him my appendicitis scar, and I said, "Lewisham General Hospital." I remember once we were playing at a dance. A rather well-dressed officer came up to me and said, "Look, Bombardier, it's my wife and my first anniversary. Do you play requests?" I said, "Yes. What would you like?" He said, "Oh, anything." Before long, we went overseas at the request of the women of Bexhill. Couldn't stand the pressure any longer. We went on board the SS Otranto, a sturdy ship with a slight tendency to sink. We wondered why the crew all slept in the lifeboats. Anyway, the first day in action, Gunner Shapiro and I were detailed to run a telephone wire up a hill to an OP. We got about halfway up, and suddenly mortars commenced, and as we got nearer the top, it increased in density. After one particularly loud blast, Shapiro turned to me and said, "Are we insured against this sort of thing?" We were gradually winning the war, and I had to take it and Lieutenant Berman Smythe and his pipe in my Bren carrier to look for a new OP. As we drove along, we came to an area that seemed remarkably quiet, very uncomfortable. The lieutenant and his pipe got out and started looking at his maps to fix a new position. I heard something behind me. I turned around, and there were 3 German paratroopers standing with their hands up. The Bermansman said, "What's going on there?" I said, "There are 3 German paratroopers here, sir." He said, "Well, ask them what they want." I said, they want to become prisoners of war, sir. But tell them we haven't got the facility. I said, "I'm sorry, sir, I don't speak German." He said, "Come here, take these maps." He went over these German paratroopers and went, as like chickens, he went, shoo. Well, now you know how the war took so long for us. One day we were told to withdraw as German troops were infiltrating in the night. I went out to return to the gun position, which had all the guns on their way out across the fields. And with all that was left for me was this Bren carrier. So I threw my stuff on it. I turned around, and on the hill behind me, there was what appeared to be American helmets. So I shouted, "Don't shoot! British!" Whereupon there was an absolute storm of firing. They were German paratroopers. And I'll stop the show here a while, because apropos that occasion, there's a German who came over here during the war, was taken prisoner. His name is Hans Tesk. And he read one of my war books, and he suddenly realized that he had been one of these paratroopers shooting at me. So he wrote to me and told me, and I thought I must take him out to lunch. So I did. And we had a wonderful lunch like this, and at the end of it, I said, "Look, Hans, you must autograph my menu." He said, "Of course, Spike." And he wrote, "Dear Spike, sorry I missed you on February the 10th. Would you like to stand up, Hans? Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. When victory came in Tunis, we were given a week's leave in Tunis under Sergeant Bullock. And he took us through the streets in Tunis and said, you stick with me, and I will find you a very good restaurant." So we were pretty naive. We said, "Oh, all right, Sergeant, fine." So we came to one, and he said, "This one here is good ones." He said, "How do you know that?" "She's got knives and forks on the table." So we all went inside. We all went inside, and he said to the waiter, "Earths, avec chips, cat, tumps." The waiter said, "It's all right that I speak English. Would you like any particular wine?" He said, yes, any particular wine." Recently, I lost a dear friend, Jack Hobbs. I've looked everywhere for him. He is the subject of this next story. He went to Cyprus for his holidays, and whilst he was out there, he basically got the shits. When he got back to London, I went to work on a Monday, he still got them. And they were pretty bad, and he thought, "Good heavens, I can't wait to go home in the rush hour with the shits like this." They would get an earlier train. So he started to walk towards the station, and he did something for him which was fatal. He coughed. So he went into a menswear shop and said, look, can you make a pair of underpants, 39 size, and inside leg long trousers, never mind what colour they are. So he went outside because the aroma around him was pretty heavy. And he went back in and he finally got the chap gave him the goods in the plastic bag. And when he got to the station, he realised that it was quite late and the train was full. And so was he. So he got in on the train, he got into the toilets and locked the door. And he started to sport himself with these awful trousers and underpants, and he threw them out that little window at the top there. And I think of the poor blokes on the line. So then he opened his plastic bag, and all there was in it was a lady's pink sweater. Well, he was getting pretty near to his station, so he had to do something. So he turned this lady's sweater upside down, and he pulled his legs and pulled the body up over him like this. And then suddenly he realized where the neck was. So he was not dispirited. He took his Truby hat off and he tucked it inside the brim, all inside like this, so that it looked like a giant hernia. Well, that in essence is the end of the story. Except that when he got out at Kingsway, he noticed that English people will not say what is they can see. Everyone there knew him and ignored him in this terrible state. All except the ticket collector, and said, "Hello, Mr. Hobbs, you've been on your holidays." The war came to an end sometime in the middle of the 70s. Anyhow, the War Office decided that I could no longer be British. A law had been passed whereby the son of an Irish father born in Ireland before 1900 was no longer British. I thought, right, I've become Irish. So I phoned up the Irish embassy. Eamon Kelly was there. I said, "Hello, this is Spike Milligan." He said, "Oh, you that one on the telly?" Yes. I said, look, can I become an Irish citizen? He said, "Oh, Jesus, yes. We're awful short of people." There is in this audience a man who is my idol. I used to, for my sins, play rugby on the wing. And there's one man here tonight who was a god among rugby players. He's Cliff Morgan. Cliff? The Irish don't mind losing, which is just as well, because they're always doing it. A few years ago, Kane Fitzgerald became the new captain for Ireland. And under him, they became Triple Crown champion. When he was presented to the boys, they said, "Here, fellas, now, here, it's the new captain for Ireland, Kane Fitzgerald. Oh, Jesus, come in now, Kane. Have a jar now." He said, No. First things first." So he went down, he opened an Adidas bag, and he took out a rugby ball. He said, "Now this here is a rugby ball." And a voice from the back said, "Oh, Jesus, you're going too fast." And after the war, I wrote The Goons, and apparently died. Peter Sellers, who's since died. He had a flat opposite me. And one morning at 3 a.m., the doorbell rang, and I went to see who it was. There stood Peter Sellers, stark naked, except for a trilby hat and shoes. He said, do you know a good tailor? In return, I sent him a telegram, ignore first telegram. Peters was a motor freak. In the early hours one morning during Christmas week, he phoned me and said, come round right away. I thought maybe he was changing wives. So anyhow, I put on my overcoat over my pajamas, jumped in my Mini, and when I got to his place, he was sitting in a Rolls Royce. And he says, I says, what is it, Peter? He said, look, Spike, this is a brand new Rolls Royce. It's a disgrace. It's got a squeak in the boot. I can't hear it in the daytime when I'm driving in traffic, but at night I can hear it clearly. I said, you could tell me that on the phone. Yes, he said, so I could have. Well, what do you want me to do about it? He said, if I'm driving this along, bumping the curb, you will be able to hear it. He said, I want you to take this piece of chalk and torch, get in the boot. When you hear a squeak, put a little cross where there is. So I got in and he drove off. I was making these little white crosses. When I heard a motor car pull up, it was police. The police stopped him and they breathalyzed him. Then there was a crunch of boots in my direction. Finally, somebody opened the boot and a torch shined on me. And the voice said, oh, it's you. Then I decided to rewrite the Bible. And I suddenly became the Salman Rushdie of the Catholic faith. And I heard that the Pope had put a fatwa out on me. And now I'm going to read you the first page. In the beginning, God created heaven and the earth, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. This was due to a malfunction at Lots Road Power Station. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. But Eastern Electricity Board said they would have to wait until Tuesday to connect it. And God saw the light, and it was good. And he saw the quarterly bill, and that was not good. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And so passed his GCSE. And God said, let there be a firmament. And God called the firmament heaven freephone 999. And God said, let the waters be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And in London, it went on the market at £600 a square foot. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass. And the earth brought forth grass. And lo, the Rastafarians smoked it.
Mike, it is I.
It shot us.
I remember when I came to see you when you were in hospital, you'd had the operation, and about 2 days after, you weren't feeling all that well. I came in to see you.
I was dying.
You were.
You never feel well when you're dying.
You didn't look too good. Anyway,
I was lying face downwards at the time.
You're on your back, I tell you. And you had this sort of transparent oxygen mask over your face, and you're muttering away. So I just held your hand. I couldn't, and your eyes were fixed over my shoulder on some distant horizon. And I thought you were going to pop your clogs. I really did. And then after a while, my neck got stiff.
Stop there.
What?
How do you pop clogs? I mean, do you have to go to the shop? Have you ever seen anybody popping clogs?
Yeah, only wise. Anyway, I'm nearly finished.
I'm ruining you. I'm
You've
sorry.
done it already. Anyway.
Start again.
I'm used to it.
Yeah.
You were looking in the distance, and I thought you were going to turn your cards in.
Well, that's all I could afford
That's
at the
it.
time.
So after a while, I held your hand, then I put it down. I looked over my shoulder, and I found you watching a television set with the sound off. So what was the program you were watching?
I'd been studying Braille, and I had a Braille card in the bed with me. I watched the whole of Coronation Street in Braille.
Thank you.
It's the best. It's the best it ever sounded to me.
Spike, in your fairly long life, which has given so much pleasure, what was your most enjoyable moment?
Her name was Milligan. That is it.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Lindsay is small.
Apart from your socks and maybe your underwear, is there anything you'd like to change about yourself? I wouldn't change your hair.
I'd like to change my bank manager. For good. I wrote up there and I said, they wrote to me, said, here's Mr. Milligan, they're overdrawn £710. Would you please see to it? I don't want you to see to it. What do you do? So I wrote back and said, thank you very much for reminding me how much I owe you. Spike Milligan. There was a long silence, and then they wrote in, dear Mr. Milligan, did you get our letter of the 3rd of April? So I said, listen, once a month, all my creditors, I write their names on a piece of paper, and I drop them in a hat, and I draw one out and I pay it. And if you don't stop bothering me, I won't put your bloody name in there.
I want to ask you, I used to come and watch the Goon Show at Camden in 1953, and since then I've often wondered, who were your heroes? Who inspired you as a humorist and a writer?
Marx Brothers.
Did you ever get to meet any of them?
No, yes, I did. I went down to the male toilet, and he was there. And he said, what are you doing in my dressing room? And some of the gags from the Marx Brothers, there's that wonderful one where Groucho was playing the guitar to Margaret Dupont, who never understood what she was doing in his films. And he's saying, I love you, I always will. Suddenly there's a knock on the door, says, oh, it's my husband. So Groucho says, what'll I do? She said, duck behind the couch. So he went behind the couch, and the husband came in, and Groucho stood up and said, there's no duck behind this couch.
Spike, can I ask you a question? You managed to dismiss the whole of the Goon Show in one sentence, and you paid even less attention to another aspect of your career. I can remember when you gave me the worst evening in the theatre that I've ever had. It was in the middle 60s, and you were starring in the West End in a play called Oblomov, son of Oblomov, wasn't it?
So yes,
Son
I've
of
done the father,
Yeah.
I was doing the son.
In which you ad-libbed your part every night, and every night it was different. And the night I came, you decided to keep putting the house lights up. And you noticed me, and from then on, about every 10 minutes, you would stop, say, put the house lights up, and then you would say, Dennis, you're a writer, what's the next line? The play, it was an enormous success and ran for ages, but how did the rest of the cast cope with you?
They left.
But did you ever
One by ones and two. They didn't all leave at once. And they never left in the middle of an act. Not saying, I've had enough of you.
Did you ever get stuck, though, for an ad lib?
Never. That just was... I was just brilliant. Next, please.
Spike,
Yes.
could you describe your worst date ever?
This could be it. Oh, I'd like to introduce you to Judd Proctor. Judd is a composer. He's written 300 tunes, all crap. He always just missed writing a winner. Like he wrote, I Like New York in August. That's why the lady is a trampolinist. The hills are alive with the sound of music. I've become accustomed to your face flannel. Jesus Christ, Superintendent. We're going to sing one of the late Alan Clare's songs, which I set the words to. It's called Small Love Song. It was summer, on the lake hung a golden haze. It was summer, it was one of those endless days. And we walked through a field of clover, and then over a sheep-spun hill. And it seemed it would last forever, and it did, until came the evening. We swung on a garden gate. It was heaven. You were 7 and I was 8. And we looked at the stars suspended, walking home down an apple lane. Me and Dolly, a doll and a daisy chain. On an evening that would never come again. I was going to read some of William Shakespeare's verse, and then I thought, why should I? He never reads any of mine. This is a garden fairy. This is a true story. There was a little girl. She was watching her father. He was taking rocks from the garden and dumping them in the river. Her mother called, "What's Daddy doing?" "He's trying to make the garden lighter." The kids are magic, and I collected all their stories. I had one when I was mowing the garden one evening, and I had to use the outside loo. When I was in there was a knock on the door. I said, "Who's there?" This voice said, "It's somebody else." This is a poem I wrote to my boyhood dog. "Boxer, my boxer, where do you lie? Somewhere under a Pune sky. Ah, my canine total joy, you were to me when as a boy we coursed the wind and ran the while, no end in sight mile after mile. I was to you and you to me, locked in a bond eternally. They never told me when you died to spare me pain in case I cried. So then, too, those adult fears denied you then my childhood tears." This is one I wrote. Don't start that, we'll be here all night. This is the butterfly. "This evening in the twilight's gloom, a butterfly flew in my room. Oh, what beauty, oh, what grace, who needs visitors from out of space?" I'd say you're taking this awfully well. This is a death wish. "Bury me anywhere, somewhere near a tree, some place where a horse will graze and gallop over me. Bury me somewhere near a stream. When she floods her banks, I'll give her thanks for reaching out to me. So bury me in my childhood scene, but please don't burn me in Golders Green." This is a long one, but I like it. "Help, help," said the man. "I'm drowning." "Hang on," said the man from the shore. "Help, help," said the man. "I'm not drowning." "Yes, I know, and I heard you before." "Be patient, dear man who is drowning. You see, I've got a disease. I'm waiting for a Dr. Browning, so do be patient, please." "How long," said the man who was drowning, "will it take for him to arrive?" "Not very long," said the man with the disease. "Till then, try staying alive." "Very well," said the man who was drowning. "I'll try and stay afloat by reciting the poems of Browning and other things he wrote." "Help, help," said the man who had a disease. "I suddenly feel quite ill." "Keep calm," said the man who was drowning. "Breathe deeply and lay quite still." "Oh dear," said the man with the awful disease. "I think I'm going to die." "Farewell," said the man who was drowning. Said the man with disease, "Goodbye." So the man who was drowning drowned, and the man with disease passed away. But apart from that and a fire in my hat, it's been a very nice day. The hills are alive. Climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow till you're knackered. If you're attacked by a lion, Try fresh underpants to try on. Lie on the ground, keep quite still, pretend that you are very ill. Keep like that, day after day, perhaps the lion will go away. My name is Fred Fanacapan. I walk around the town, sometimes with my trousers up, and sometimes with them down. And when they were up, they were up, and when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, I was arrested. We have cracked the midnight glass and loosed the racketing, star-crazed night into the room. The blind harp sings in the late firelight, and your hand is decked with white promises. What wine is this? There are squirrels chasing in my glass. Good God, I'm pissed. I thought I saw Jesus on a tram. I said, "Are you Jesus?" He said, yes, yes I am. I have a nanny, 6'3". She really was the death of me. Through the roaring traffic, she'd push my pram. Down my throat, my food she'd ram. It made her ecstatically happy to never ever change my nappy. So it shouldn't surprise you all a bit that I grew up a bit of a shit.
I was in the room when you called Prince Charles a grovelling little bastard. However did you
Stand up when you say that.
I was in the room when you called Prince Charles a grovelling little bastard, but...
So was I,
yeah. How did you get to know him so well?
No, I have no idea. I don't know whether I do know him so well anymore. The next day I sent him a telegram saying, I suppose a knighthood's out of the question. Barbara Kelly.
Spike, darling, as
Darling? Oh.
as a Kelly from Donegal, I'd like to know what you find different or better between the Irish and the British, or the
Well, I'll give you a couple of examples.
Yeah.
She and I went to stay at a castle in Ireland, and we stopped on the way there in a little tiny cow town, and it's just a little side turning like this. Pull up the Mini, and she went into this tea room to get some more tea in a thermos. I noticed that it was at the time of the rocket to the moon, and somebody had cut out on a big piece of cardboard a rocket and written, "The Rocket Tea Room." Stuck it up there, and there was a green bulb and a red bulb going on and off at each end. When I looked into the shop, it was the bloke behind the counter who was working with him.
Spike,
Yes,
remember the time I borrowed your overcoat?
yes,
Oh, Linden Gardens.
that's right. It was raining, and a pre-war overcoat with huge shoulders, and it hung below your heels. Remember that? Yes. Years after the Goon Show, he was touring somewhere. I went and saw him, and I just happened to say to him, what happened to that overcoat I gave you? And he said, I sold it! So nice to see you.
And you too, Milligan. Thanks for a marvellous evening tonight. It's been absolutely great. In the Goon Shows, the characters in the Goon Show, were they all picked out of your own imagination, or were some of them based on real people?
Blue Bottom was based upon a tall, 12-foot-high Boy Scout. with a half oil like that. And Bloodknock used to be the major a quartermaster in Pune stores. We used to knock off the goods and then the wives.
Spike?
Yeah?
How is Plunger Bailey?
Plunger Bailey?
Plunger Bailey.
He died. He and his enormous weapon. Plunger Bailey was a man who we first saw in the shower at Bexhill. He had this enormous tool. It hung below his knee. And when we went to Africa, he was excused short. And we used to wonder why all the women used to wait for men in long trousers. Yes?
From any century, male or female, who would you most like to take out to dinner and why?
Jesus.
And why?
Love to see him.
Would you ask him to turn water into wine again?
Yeah. I'd like a Gewürztraminer. Fondant Tardive, 1979.
Do you think he could do it?
Well, he better. That's it. Thank you very much for coming. Yeah. I'll be very glad to see you going. Thank you.